Hey guys, Terry here with the Forest Farm Project. Today we're going to do another maintenance video on our Kubota B2650. This time we're going to change the suction filter and the hydrostatic or HST filter on the transmission. And they apparently share the same reservoir. The HST goes to the hydrostatic, which when you move your treadle pedal, you drive the tractor with that one. This other filter is for the implements, apparently, but they're both sharing the same reservoir. We have the HST filter. This is the HST or hydrostatic filter part number, and the suction filter. This is the suction filter part number. We also bought a 80 millimeter, which is the size of the, we bought an 80 millimeter filter wrench, which is the size of these filters. So it kind of helps you turn those filters. Getting them loose helps out quite a bit. We've got the UDD2 Super Transmission Hydraulic Fluid. That's Kubota's recommendation, and that's what we're going to use. Some people say you can get a little cheaper other places. It's not going to break the bank to buy this, and we're meeting their specs to the T. They sell that stuff. If something messes up because of fluid, it's their fault. We printed this book out, which shows the entire maintenance catalog or book. And today, since we're working on these two things, we got these paper clips in here, kind of helps you find them real quick. So, on the HST filter, you want to place this drain pan under there because some fluid's going to leak out when you pull that filter. And you want to have that filter ready to go so that, and have you take this plastic off, put a little bit of oil on there, transmission oil, on the seal, and when you pull that old filter out, fluid's going to run out, and you want to throw a new filter on as quick as you can. People have said park it on a hill. They've said use a vacuum. We're just going to change it and fill the fluid, and hopefully we don't lose too much. Let's go ahead and change these filters. I always like to use these nitrile gloves because it keeps the oil off my hands. We don't want to mess up my that finger. Some of you know what that finger means. We told you about it in a previous video. We don't want to damage the finger, do we? Okay. Better pull this little plug out. If you don't, the oil doesn't go down in that hole very well. One thing to note when changing filters on the tractor, there's different tightness that you have to go to. On the suction filter, the manual says after that filter has made contact with the housing, turn it 1/2 turn more, which is snugging it up a 1/2 turn. The HST filter, on the other hand, says to make 1 full turn. Why that is, I don't know. I don't argue with them. I just do what they say. So you just want to make sure that you look. If you're changing the first one and it's a 1/2 turn, and then you get to the other one, and in your mind you're like, oh yeah, it said a 1/2 turn. It's not. It's a full turn. So make sure that you're tightening the proper filter to the proper tightness. Hope that thing doesn't shoot the oil out too far. I might get a little oily. We'll see in a minute, won't we? I'm not convinced that vacuum cleaner is not a bad idea. Let's see. That's loosening. We get this bad boy loose first off. Okay, I got it where I can turn it by hand. Get my filter wrench back off of there. Oh, starting to lose some fluid already. There we go. Get that thing ready to go. Let me just see what happens. Oh, it's going to pour out. So we don't want to do that. We need that back. Yep. Here we go. Oh yeah, sucking air. Awesome, it worked. Okay, turn it off. Okay guys, as you can see, we just changed that filter. We had to go get a vacuum. We opened the filter, and I did not have this camera you're looking at right here, right now, with this view. I didn't have that camera down here. I'm really sorry about that. But when we took that filter loose and pulled it back from right here, as we just barely loosened it, it was pouring fluid out. So I took the advice of one of our subscribers. Honestly, I cannot remember who said it, but they said to put a vacuum on the hydraulic fluid fill cap on the back of the tractor here. And we'll show you this where Brian's pulled in the cap off right there. So anyway, pull the vacuum, and lo and behold, while he was pulling that vacuum, I was taking this old filter off, and it literally was sucking air through that hole, and you could hear it bubbling through the oil or fluid in that transmission, and it did not leak hardly a drop. And he had it held, and you can see how he had it held. He was leaving a little bit of an air gap around his hand, so it could suck some air around. It wasn't completely a vacuum up there, but enough that it pulled the fluid back in through this hole rather than let it run out. Just saved us probably between both sides, I'd say we would have lost a quart or better the way it was pouring out. As it is, we lost very little oil, mostly just what was in the filter. Pretty excited about that. This filter had to be turned. Would you look at that manual, Brian?
That one was a half turn.
Half turn.
Yeah.
So, let me make sure I didn't go too tight. Okay, that's where it makes contact, and that's straight up. So that HL06, I'm going to turn it until it's reading that direction instead of this direction like it is right now. And that will be a half a turn. Right there. We are good. Let's get the other side. All right, guys, again, let's not forget to lubricate this filter a little bit. Get a little oil on my finger. Where is it? Come on, oil. Well, there we go. Need a little more than that. Pour a little on here, it won't hurt. It'll go in the filter. Okay, there we go. Better lid that bad boy up before it spills. Okay. You want to make sure you get this thing oiled a little bit. Well, let's put this bad boy on. Okay, let's get this bad boy on. So I got it turned the right way. And turn this bad boy loose, and hopefully that fluid does not run out. A little bit's dripping. Get this other one ready. You got the vacuum down tight on it?
Yep.
Tighten it off, don't let it leak. There it goes. Okay, it's made contact. I'm going to make a mark over here. You'll see that come around as I turn it. That mark will be my one turn. This one is supposed to go a full one turn. So here we go. You got to use your wrench. I believe I'm messed up. Let me see. Oh, actually, there's the point of contact. I'm going to have to use the wrench. You're not in the hole. It don't matter. I can't turn it anymore. It is as tight as it will go. That's it. Alrighty. Well, they said make one full turn. I had it about right here when it was touching. And where are we at? Somewhere in here?
A little higher.
Right up in there? I got about 3/4 turn, and you can feel that thing bottoming out. If I go any tighter, I'd strip the threads. Apparently one turn's not the number. Or my ideal of where it made contact's a little less than what I did. So we got it on there. Now let's check the fluid level and see where we're at. Alrighty. So We have got the cap already off the transmission. I'm going to go ahead, check the fluid level, which I know is going to be low. We had lost a little bit. We had 3 different hydraulic leaks, Brian.
Yep.
Minor, he snugged the fittings. It worked fine. It was all loader. So either the loader was built wrong or it was installed improperly at our dealer. I can't really tell you which. It's not even getting any fluid on the stick. So we lost a little bit. Hopefully not more than a quart, because that's all we've got. So I have no clue how much this is going to take. We'll pour some in there and check it. Set that down there. Put this back in the hole. For now, pour some fluid in here. I know we lost a half a quart. It was already on the low side. So let's just try that and see what happens. We poured about a half a quart in there. A little more, a little less than a half. See where we're at. Might have lost more than I thought. A good bit ran out of those filters. You're going to lose some. We want to at least get in the safe zone, and we can't run it at all, can we?
That's it.
Okay, I think we're up on the stick now. And we're touching the safe zone. Double check that. Yes, we are on the very low side of the safe zone. So we're going to need a portion of a quart, maybe even a quart, to top it off. But we are in the safe zone, so we can run it. Let that bad boy drain a minute. Our neighbor decided it was time to mow. Let me double check this again. Find the cleanest spot of this nasty, filthy rag. We are about a quarter, or about a third of the way up into the safe zone on this stick. Safe zone being, come look at this, Brian. Safe zone is between that notch and that ring around there, and we're about right there. So we need to bring it on up here. It'll run anywhere between there, so we're good. All right, but you do have to run it. It's going to take some in the filters. Okay, let's crank it up and see what it does. All right, we drove the tractor, put it in 4-wheel drive, drove it around, turned the front wheels, run the implements and everything, just to make sure we got plenty of fluid flow through the system. And that way, when we change those filters, you know, there was a lot of fluid in the filters when we dumped them out. We wanted to make sure we still had enough fluid in here. So, man, it's up almost a half a stick. We're good to go. So, one thing we learned today was, I didn't have it on film. We didn't have the camera up under there at first, but when we pulled that, I pulled that filter loose, the fluid just started pouring out between the filter and the transmission. So I screwed it back real quick. We got the vacuum, put the vacuum over this hole, and kept it down almost tight. Just let a little bit of air. Brian held it down, and you can see that in the video, and let a little air suck in around it, but it pulled a really hard vacuum on that transmission. Well, when that oil's trying to run out the hole where the filter screws on, that vacuum was pulling it back and wouldn't allow it to run. It was actually sucking air through there to fill the vacuum. And so that was amazing. It saved us, I'm guessing, a quart or more of fluid changing these filters. So I would highly recommend using a vacuum to do it. So anyway, if you like what you see, give us a big thumbs up. Check us out on Facebook, share us with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching, guys.